What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl? This was the question we asked in the commercial and talked about back in 2014. The commercial immediately became the most viral ad of the year with almost 70 million views. It had 14 Cannes Awards. You know, it was the first female ad to be featured in the Super Bowl and, you know, extremely successful. Let's just view the beginning of this ad.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl.
My hair.
Show me what it looks like to fight like a girl.
My name is Dakota, and I'm 10 years old.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl?
It means run fast as you can.
So when did doing something like a girl become an insult? As one of the marketing directors responsible for this iconic campaign, I'm of course extremely proud of the business results. As you see in the ad, when you ask a young girl what it means to run like a girl, she says simply run as fast as you can. But something changes during puberty and somehow it becomes an insult. Our goal with this commercial was to reclaim the phrase like a girl to mean simply be proud to be who you are. Now, what if I asked you what it means to you to lead like a girl? I spent the last 2 decades in senior leadership position, and I believe it's time to reclaim the phrase like a girl once again, this time in the world of leadership.
If you're emotionally trying to develop emotional intelligence, how does, I think this one's for Hetal, how does the process of elevating or increasing your emotional intelligence happen?
It's very interesting because as Dana was just speaking, I think it ties very well to what she was saying just now about, starting not just having empathy with others, but with yourself. And you are right. And, it starts with yourself. But if you look at emotional intelligence, and if I were to just simplify it, it's just two main components, yourself and others. Okay. And when you talk about the journey of elevating your emotional intelligence when it comes to yourself, it's really it starts with knowing that at the given moment or time, what are you feeling? What are you actually going through? I call it taking stock of your emotions. How often do you actually do that? And that's where it starts. It's like, when you enter a mall or when you're actually going somewhere and you're going to put something on a GPS, you need to first know where you are if you're going to know where you're going to, end up. So that knowing where you are is actually taking stock of your emotions. And
so now that Hetal has more or less gave us a bigger picture of what emotional intelligence is, now let's talk about empathy, since it's usually confused. So Anna, after emotional intelligence, can you help us further by explaining what then is empathy and how does it relate to emotional intelligence?
Okay, so empathy is a very powerful skill for the 21st century. Until now, and definitely forward, having said that, it is connected to emotional intelligence, which we're going to understand in a minute. Empathy is the ability to emotionally read and understand someone else's point of view. I can agree or disagree with that, but I can understand and read emotionally why they act the way they act, why they're coming from the way they're coming. In order to do that very well, when you have high EQ, high and emotional intelligence, it's easier for you to do that because you're in the state automatically. But for people that don't have it automatically or naturally, it's okay to practice by looking at people, the way they act, trying to analyze it, journal it, and then to ask the question to make sure they really understand. The easiest way to do it is actually to do it on yourself first, to see what you think, how you feel about it, what are your actions accordingly, and then to analyze it, to be empathetic toward yourself, to analyze and understand the process of it. So the empathy is actually the action outside. Emotional intelligence is something that you have as Ethel was explaining, that allows you to take it outside and to act.
Oh, it's getting clearer. So how is it? There are some that would recommend that you just fake it until you make it. So what's the right balance, or how do you do it properly, I guess?
I learned is that confidence can be nurtured. Confidence can be trained. But confidence is not the same as charisma. Charisma is a gift from within that you have, but you need to develop the gift. What happens if you don't develop a gift? Your gift will be lost. Your gift will not be able to be utilized to the fullest. So in short, behaviorism is short-term, but if you want to look at long-term sustainable confidence, which is fruit, we need to look at the discovery from within, an inside-out transformation.
Okay, thank you. Okay, question for you, Jojo. About the subconscious intelligence. It's different from emotional intelligence,
Oh, yes,
right?
yes,
Okay,
yes, that's
so
right.
where does it go between empathy, emotional intelligence, and subconscious intelligence?
Okay. It's like this. Do you have a friend, like, for example, I know Hetal, Jeremiah, maybe you have this. We have friends that cannot control their anger, right? And then I have had that. I have had a friend who would burst like a volcano, yeah, from time to time. Then he will come to me crying, why did I do that, and all. Yeah. And then, of course, he's already aware of that kind of behavior, and yet he cannot control himself to remove that. And what I've found is this: when people have recurring emotional issues, yeah, they actually have a baggage from the past. And often the baggage is created, believe it or not, when we were between age 1 to 12 years old. A lot of our programming was created during that time. And it is only by using techniques of subconscious intelligence that you will be able to let the person reframe, go back to the past, learn from that particular event in the past, so that they will change their behavior today.
There are 3 daily mistakes that I have made in my life that caused me to lose my job. Okay, the first mistake is something called resistance. I was very, very resistant to change. I was very resistant to take on new projects. Because a lot of us are paid a certain salary. So when we are asked to do something beyond the salary, usually we will feel a bit resistant, right? We say like, hey, no, you only pay me 3,000 Singapore dollars or 3,000 US dollars. Don't ask me to do 5,000 US dollars job. You know, so we will resist certain training, resist to change, resist certain projects. And that was me. The second mistake I made that cost me my job is something called the ignorance of trends. You know, the whole world is going through a lot of changes. Okay, we call it the VUCA world, V-U-C-A, VUCA world. That means it's volatile, right? It is uncertain, it is complex, it is ambiguous. All these things are moving very fast. They're moving. Like technology is moving, finance is moving, retail is moving, every industry is moving very fast. Even pharmaceuticals and medical are moving very fast. Okay, and finally, I have this thing called passive communication. That means whenever I feel like saying something, I didn't say. Right? I'm always waiting. I'm waiting for somebody else to say. You know, those people who are more proactive, they'll put up their hand and they will go ahead and say, oh, hey, I have suggestions to make. Okay, I don't really like this idea. I have an alternative idea to share. But for me, I just passively sit there.
What is this thing called holistic well-being that is driving the discussion and structuring the discussion of our panel? So James, would you like to start us off and just share with us, maybe unmute yourself and share with us your perspective and your understanding of what holistic well-being is. And then when James has finished, if any of my other colleagues would also like to jump in with their thoughts and perspectives, please feel free to do so. James?
Great, thank you, Faye. So according to the Global Wellness Institute, holistic wellness is actually the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic health. And putting that together with the definition of National Wellness Organization, it's actually addressing all 6 dimensions of wellness in our lives that builds a holistic sense of wellness and fulfillment. So what exactly is that 6 dimensions? The 6 dimensions are actually listed here, and later on, as we progress with our discussion, I don't want to jump the gun on this, but just to give an idea of what are the 6 dimensions that in particular my organization is looking at and how we incorporate in the corporate setting are actually physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental dimensions.
James, thank you so much. And I really love that you have a broad working definition of well-being that incorporates all dimensions and all aspects of an individual, so that it's not just focusing on the physical or the mental, but that there's also that focus on the social and the spiritual as well, because we know from experience and also research and studies that we can't be truly well if one area of our life is in deficit or one area of our life is in conflict. So thank you for that. And would Heidi or Era like to add to that definition around their understanding of what holistic well-being is, to kick us off with this discussion this evening?
Because my background is as a dietitian, a nutritionist. So of course you tend to think, oh, we'll just home in on the physical and the nutrition, but actually it makes no sense to have a perfect nutrition. You know, you may have the best diet in the world, but if you're in a toxic relationship, that's not going to help you. So similar as you said, James, I look at all of the facets of the circle of life, you know, which is all the environment, how is your job, how are the stresses of your work, do you have family stresses, etc., where do you live? So I really, and of course the emotional, and from a mindset perspective, very much the you know, what is your connection to self, what awareness do you have in your control of what is happening in your life. So I very much appreciate what you've shown. Thank you.
Heidi, would you like to add to that with some of your thoughts and perspectives around what holistic well-being is?
From my take, I think James has briefed it, you know, very clear. But from my perspective, right, I look at it like mental health problem, stress, you know, well-being can exist independently. You know, people can experience work-related stress and physical changes such as high blood pressure without having anxiety, you know, without having depression or other mental health problems. You know, they can also have anxiety and depression without experiencing stress, right? So for me, the key differences later on is between them are their cause and the way we treat it. Yeah, that's my take on that. Yeah, thank you.